Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed yet, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. If you're on YouTube, hit it down below and to get notified of every time I go live. If you are watching on Facebook, because I'm simultaneously streaming between YouTube, Facebook and Twitter at the moment, if you're on Facebook, don't forget to like Asexualise page and follow me and follow the live streams. Make sure you click under the lives to get notified of every time I go live on Facebook. And hello Twitter people, hello Twitter followers. Lots of love to you. Really happy to have you here for the third day of Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. So, yes, it's incredible. And today we're going to be discussing if you had just one wish about being asexual, what would that wish be? So if you didn't know what Asexual Perspectives Month is all about, I brought a book out for asexuals back. I published a book in 2017. Just type in Asexual Perspectives if you want to grab a copy on Amazon, Waterstones or Barnes & Noble. And basically this book celebrates our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our differences within it. I interviewed 46 asexuals throughout the globe and across the asexual spectrum for it. And I also tell my personal story in it. So today and throughout this month, I'm going to be reading from this book. So one of the questions I ask in the book is if you had one wish about being asexual, like I said, what would that wish be? So I'm going to read some excerpts from the book. So this is my untidy copy. This is what a new copy would look like if you grabbed a copy. This is my untidy copy that I use all the time to read through. Right, so I've made some bookmarks. So we're going to go through this, right? So this is Nikki's story. So if you do have the book, I know some of you got it at home, page 88 we're on. Oh, Liam, hello, beautiful Sandra. Or hi, beautiful Sandra. Lots of love to Liam on YouTube. Hello to you. Always nice to see you, Liam. Right, so Nikki's story, page 88 in the printed version of the book, right? So if you could have one wish about being asexual, what would it be and why? It would be that asexuality was a better known and better understood thing. There are people, even people very close to me, who I have not told about my asexuality, since it would be a difficult task to get them to understand. Not through any failing on their part, but simply because they have never heard of this before. Right? So this is the thing, you see. If you read this wish, it starts off by saying it would be better that asexuality was a better known and better understood thing. Right? But in order for it to be better known and to be better understood, we actually need to come out as asexual. And the more of us that come out as asexual, the more awareness there is of asexuality, and the more people will be free to express themselves and who they really truly are. So it's a kind of a chicken and egg situation, right? You need to be able to have more and more people come out as asexual in order for there to be more visibility of asexuality, in order for asexuality to be normalised, right? And if more and more people keep hiding the fact they're asexual and afraid to come out, then this makes it hard for the rest of us, right, to come out. And that's why it's good there's YouTube shows, like not just mine, but other people's YouTube shows that represent asexuality. One of my friends recently said that I give a voice to the voiceless, which is really, really beautiful words. And, you know, it's essential that we have more articles, more media coverage of asexuality. But like I said, you know, like if you're scared about coming out because, you know, it's not well known, it's more media coverage of asexuality. But like I said, you know, like if you're scared about coming out because, you know, it's not well known, wishing it to be well known is not going to make it well known. What's going to make it well known is more people coming out about being asexual, more people being bold and brave, right? Like the guy is my friend who I met through Facebook dating Indian, but we're not compatible because he's not asexual. He's very respectful and he's subscribed to his channel. Hello to you. And he, you know, he wants to learn all about asexuality and he wants to know about it, even though he's not asexual himself, right? And he said to me that he was so happy he met me that I educated him on that because it's something he would have never known in his life else, right? But when I was on Facebook dating, I was bold and brave in my profile and put it all over the place that I'm asexual. I educated a lot of people. Like, I spoke to a lot of guys on there, but it was good in the sense that, yeah, I might not have found a partner on there, but I was always explaining what asexuality was. You know, asexuality is not a condition. It's not you know, something that is my just something I want to do, just a situation I put myself in. It's not something that I chose. It's not something that I just said, hey, I'm going to be this asexual person today. You know, it doesn't work like that. So, you know, a lot of the people on Facebook dating, I kept getting them saying, oh, I respect your choice. It's like, it's not a frigging choice, right? I'm asexual. It's a choice where I have sex or not because I'm asexual. But as a sex repulsed asexual, you won't really have a choice, but most of the time you don't want sex because you're repulsed by it, right? I have had sex in the past, so, but I'm repulsed by it these days, right? So, but asexuality is not a choice, but still an asexual can choose to have sex or not have sex, right? But asexuality is not a choice. It's not a condition. It's not some kind of disease. It's not some kind of illness. It's not to do with trauma or abuse, right? And it's a genuine sexual orientation. So I've always been asexual, but didn't realise it. But looking back, there's conclusive evidence that I was definitely asexual because I never really was into sexual touching. I didn't look at a guy and ever think that I want sex with him as a teenager or at all, you know. I haven't, you know, it's just the way it is for me. And so it's obvious that I was asexual, born asexual, but never realised it. So it's really important. The more of us that come out, the more visibility there is, the more brave people are in coming out, the more it helps us as a whole community. So I would urge you, if you haven't come out as asexual yet, to be bold and brave, right? It's not for us to force people to understand. All we can do is educate them, and it's up to them whether they take that education on board and they absorb it and they ask sensible questions, not like intrusive questions that's just horrible, and you know that a lot of them are just getting off on it, because that's what some sexuals do. They get off on the fact you talk about asexuality. And if I say I don't like sex but I like kissing, they're like, oh, what type of kissing do you like? What type of touching do you like then? Will you do a blowjob? Will you do this? It's like that's being really intrusive. That's different, you know. And so please, you know, if you think about coming out, be bold, be brave, right? What have you got to lose? You could say, well, my family might mock me, my friends might mock me, people might not talk to me again. But at the end of the day, that's your true identity and who you really are. You shouldn't hide it from the world, right? You should be speaking out loud. The louder you speak about it, the more confident and clarity you have about who you are, and you show that to the world, the more the world will accept you for who you are. It's people that bottle up their emotions, bottle up their feelings, who are too worried about what people think, that they shut out the light within themselves because they don't allow themselves to fully be who they are, right? We only get one life. We only get one life, people, so live it boldly and bravely and be the beautiful asexual you were always born to be, right? Stop worrying about what people think all the time, right? I don't worry about what people think of me. If they don't like me, thanks, nice to meet you. It's no big deal, is it? Not everyone's gonna like me. It's cool, you know. And it's like, move on, bye, have a nice life, right? Oh, if you wonder why that's like that, look, I've got baby teeth. If you wonder why I've got a gap in my teeth, it's actually a baby tooth. Yes, I'm still a baby. Isn't that great? Anyway, moving swiftly on from that. So we're going to talk about Zoe's story now. Zoe's story is beautiful, as all the stories are. And her story is on page 164 of the printed version, if you've got the printed version of the book. So, if you could have one wish about being asexual, what would it be and why? I wish it would be easier to find a special someone who is also an asexual. Asexuals get as lonely as anyone else. Yeah. And so this is kind of like a myth and a stereotype. There's this myth and stereotype that if you're asexual, you don't want a relationship, you don't want any touching, you're pretty much like just want friends. And this is very damaging, right? I'm going to take my top off because I'm getting hot. It's getting hot in here, but I'm not taking all my clothes off. Right. Whoops. So yes. So basically, you know, it's very damaging, this stereotype that asexuals just want friends, they just want a buddy. Now, obviously, if you're on the aromantic side of the asexual spectrum, you lack romance, you lack romantic attraction, you lack sexual attraction. It might be that you want a deep companionship more, and a deep friendship more than an actual being in a relationship, right? It might be possible, but for the people who are romantic asexuals like myself, you know, and the fact that a lot of society believes that if you're romantic but you're on dating sites, you shouldn't be on them because, hey, you know, you don't want sex, so why the hell are you on here? It's very disconcerting, it's very rude, it's very not nice, you know, because asexuals deserve a relationship just as much as sexuals do, right? Just because we don't want the sex doesn't mean to say we don't deserve to have someone in a relationship. Some asexuals get very, very lonely, right? Some asexuals think about the long term, like they don't want to be in the future when their parents are no longer here and they haven't got someone for a relationship. They want to grow old with someone. They want to have that special someone in their life. And, you know, asexuals are just as much valid as wanting that as any other sexual orientation. You know, just because we don't want sex doesn't mean to say we don't want love and we don't want the deep emotional connection and all the other things besides the sex, right? Like, relationships are not just about sex, they're about mutual respect, about high effective communication skills. They're about understanding each other. You don't have to be the same. You could just be complementary. Or even beautifully contrasting, you know. It's about love, companionship, understanding, and being at one with the kind of soul. And just like, it is about deepest, bestest ever friendship. That's what it should be based on anyway. But the fact is, you know, we can be in a loving, caring, committed relationship without sex, because sex isn't the same as love, right? And love does exist without sex, just like sex exists without love, right? So please don't think just because an asexual doesn't want sex that they don't want a relationship or they don't deserve one. Because we don't value our worth on how much sex we are or are not having, right? Whereas a lot of sexuals, they value their worth on how much sex they are or not having. If they're not having sex, it's like they devalue the relationship and they do value their own worth because they feel rejected, right? But you can love someone without having sex with them and be in a relationship with someone without sex. It's perfectly valid, right? So let's go on to, we're going on to Joelle's story now. So it's page 228, if you got the physical copy of the book, right? So if you could have one wish about being asexual, what would it be and why? So Joel was acceptance. I want asexuality to be as normal as heterosexuality, just acceptance being real and not questioned or doubted. Now, this is part of my lifelong mission, to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation throughout the globe so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. Instead, we can live in harmony among sexuals and we can coexist with understanding, compassion and, you know, respect for each other. And I do want asexuality to be recognised globally, much more as a genuine sexual orientation, as valid as heterosexuality, as homosexuality, as pansexuality, as bisexuality. You know, as valid as any sexuality. And so it's very, very important that we do spread awareness as much as possible and that we keep being our true authentic selves, right? The only way, like I said, we're going to get things to change in society is if more people come out and spread the word that asexuality is real, it's true. But the problem is when there's a lot of asexuals that are in hiding, it's like they're ashamed of who they are when they shouldn't be, because they're ashamed of what other people will think of them. When it doesn't matter, be your beautiful, gorgeous self. It doesn't matter what people think. Shine your light and be beautiful, asexual you, right? Because this is the only way we're going to get any change in the world, is by actually being who we are, showing that to the world, showing up all the time and saying, hey, this is who I am, right? This is who I am. This is me in my light, right? And you shine the light on the world and they can see your asexual beauty then. But if you keep yourself hidden and you keep your identity hidden, that causes internal struggles. And internal struggles leads to a lot of frustration, kind of maybe self-doubt, lower confidence, lower self-worth, lower self-esteem, right? So break the chains, come out and stop worrying about what people think. Because no one, like there's no one in this planet, world and universe that's ever going to have everyone like them and everyone agree with them and everyone understand them. It's just impossible. So stop worrying about the people that don't matter and reach out to the people that do matter. They need to hear your voice. They need to see the true, authentic you. They need to love you for who you are, right? We want people to love us for who we are, not for the person we portray ourselves to be, but for who we truly are. And when we show up to the world and we show who we really are to the world, then, you know, that is when magic happens, right? Hello, Philip, on Facebook. So we need to be our true, authentic selves. We need to show up to the world like that. We need to shine our beautiful asexual light, because only then can we live in harmony among sexuals if we're willing and prepared to say who we truly are, right? We shouldn't be afraid. If they're not afraid of showing their sexuality, why should we be? What? Because it's in a minority, right? The reason it's more in a minority is because not enough people talk about it. Just imagine of all the people in the world that are asexual and don't realise it. The louder we have a voice, the more people come out as asexual, and the more it will be normalised as, oh, that's another sexual orientation, right? And then when we go on dating sites in the future, it's not going to be such a big deal, and people are going to be like, what? Why don't you want sex? You know, it's going to be more accepted, right? Obviously, some asexuals don't mind having sex, right? But for the asexuals that do mind having sex, it's a big deal that we get asexuality recognised. Hello, Ahmed. Hello, peace and love, Sandra. Mwah! Big love to you, Ahmed, as always. So, you know, the more we come out as being asexual, the more that we shine our light, the more that we beam who we really are, the more we show up as our true, authentic self, the more the world can get used to us. When we are hiding ourselves away and shutting our identity down, we are playing small. We are living under the shadows of the majority, when really we need to shine as a beautiful minority, right? We should be shining our light. If we're a minority, we should stand out from the crowd, right? And stand out from the crowd can be an amazing thing, because it can cut through all the rubbish. It can cut through all the noise of society. It can, you know, it can just peel back all the programming and conditioning. And it can just say, hey, there's different people in the world, right? Look at us, there's different people. You have to understand that a lot of people in life are conditioned. They're conditioned from birth to think that heterosexuality is the only sexuality, is the normal sexuality. This is conditioning, right? Many people are not living a conscious state. When you start a spiritual journey, if you start that yet, you start to wake up consciously. You might already be conscious before you started your spiritual journey. I've been conscious of myself for a very long time, since primary school. I've been aware of myself, but as I've done my personal and professional development journey, I've become more and more self-aware. I can analyse why I behave in certain ways, analyse my thoughts and feelings. I can feel what might be good, what might not be so good. So it becomes like second nature, right? We need to have asexuality be like second nature to people, as in the sense, oh yeah, some people are asexual. But by hiding asexuality away, by people still being in the dark, by people not coming out as asexual, it pushes our light down, and it makes it look like we've got something to be ashamed of, or something that's wrong with us, or it's not right to be asexual. It's right to be asexual. Right? There's some people who are genuinely asexual. They just don't have the sexual feelings. They don't get the need. They don't get the urge or the want for sex. They don't look at someone and think, I want sex with them. Right? These are asexuals, right? It doesn't compute in our brain. It's a completely different mindset and thinking to traditional heterosexuals. We think differently. Our mind is kind of programmed and wired differently. And of course, when you've got most people who are conditioned from birth to believe heterosexuality is the only sexuality, and when they've had all this conditioning and this programming, and that's what the majority of society has, of course it's going to take a while to break through those barriers, to make people see that there are different people in the world. But it doesn't mean to say we should play small just because the world may be not quite ready for us. We have to show the world who we are, right? Don't just tell the world they're asexuals. Show them how asexual it is, right? That's why I do this channel, because I show asexuality in real life asexual context. If you go back for my 5.5 years of content on here, you'll see how I live my asexual life, how asexuality is in real life context. This show's very different to others you'll find on the internet, right? Most other asexual channels, they don't do a vlog like this. It's a set video. It's very edited, very like perfect lighting, perfect editing almost, you know, done in a certain style and way to get the most viewers, right? Hi, Greg. Yes, I can live now, Greg. Lots of love to you. Nice to have you back since the 22nd of July. I appealed again, so I got it back. Yeah. So I'm here live with you, giving you value as usual, helping you out. So what I was saying is, you know, on this channel, it's very different to a lot of other channels, right? I'm raw, I'm real, I'm, you know, like I'm here live sharing my life. So if you look back through 5.5 years, you can see my journey, right? I do it on purpose, right? I'm not about having the perfect lighting or the perfect setting or the right angles, right? Just to get, you notice my subs are a lot lower than other people's, right? But I've got over 193,000 people that have viewed my channel, right? That's 193 people who got to know, possibly, if they stay on long enough, a bit about asexuality. That is huge, right? I consider that a great thing, right? But I do this channel in the way I do it so that people can understand how asexuality is in real life context. Because it's one thing to get some textbook definitions off the internet and copy what everyone else is doing and stick up an asexual video, but it's very, very difficult to actually show telling it live. This is how phobia is getting increased or not. Well, aphobia I don't think is the right thing in the right word anyway. It should be acephobia. And I was talking to one of my friends about this, because A is absent. A stands for absent usually, phobia, so it'd be absent of phobia. So actually that's the wrong word. It should be acephobia. But for some reason, people have been using the word aphobia. A is usually absent in front of it, so it means absent of a phobia. That's actually not correct, but that's what they use. Some people are using on Twitter. So it should be acephobia, not aphobia, right? Actually, which obviously, you know, that's not Amit's fault. That's how people are portraying it on Twitter, right? A lot of the time, but it should be acephobia. If you're breaking down what aphobia actually means, and aphobia, absence of phobia. Because usually A in front of something is like asexual, absence of sexual attraction, aromantic, absence of romantic attraction. So aphobia would really mean absence of a phobia. So acephobia is it? Do I think it's increasing or not? I personally don't get subjected to that much acephobia. I just don't, because I don't care what people think of me. And I can't shout about asexuality enough. I think the problem with acephobia a lot of the time is a lot of the time people pay attention to that. I don't pay attention to that. I sometimes get trolls on here. I just block them. Some people, they say nasty stuff to me in private message, right? And I just ignore it. I block them. I don't care what they think, right? I'm not here for the haters and the naysayers in life and people that are just being rude. That says a lot about them if they're behaving like that, right? If all they can do is go out of the way to speak like that to someone, then that's up to them, right? So I don't tend to get acephobia very much, right? Not very much, considering like I'm all over the place. But I'm very confident, I'm very bold, I'm very brave in what I talk about with asexuality. You know, I share my whole truth online. No one can start saying stuff that much because I share everything. I don't hold secrets. There's nothing I don't share usually. The majority of my life's out there, right? It's only when we hide stuff and we play small in life that people are able to get at us, that people are able to pull us down and take us down. If I share my truth openly and honestly, what more can they say? Greg says they think it's increased, but they don't either get acephobia. But my sister and brother are acephobic, using the right word. Well, Greg, I'm really sorry to hear that your brother and sister are acephobic. If you're experiencing acephobia, people, right, if you're experiencing this, one is, I'm sorry, because, you know, clearly it's not good. Acephobia is really bad, you know. But two is, we mustn't focus on negativity, right? Negativity breeds negativity. We keep focusing on the bad things, then more bad things will happen, right? So what you need to do is focus on the people that support asexuality, the people who are interested in asexuality, the people who listen to asexuality. We need to be focusing on positivity, because what we focus on expands. If we focus on negative stuff, we'll get more negative stuff in our life. If we focus on positive stuff, we'll get more positive stuff in our life, right? I mean, you know, there's certain things I will avoid doing because I think it's not worth my time, energy and effort, especially if you are getting acephobia. But if it's your family that's acephobic, Greg, I'm really sorry about that, you know? Unfortunately, we can't change our family. We can't change people's minds. So only what we can do in that situation is be strong about our asexuality, right? Because I did have two people in my old job that didn't accept my asexuality, and one of them was gay. And you would have thought that someone who's also in the LGBT plus community, who's also in a minority, would have been very, very understanding, but they weren't, and it took them a year to come to terms with it. Hello, Marie on Facebook. Don't forget, I'm streaming simultaneously at the moment between YouTube on my desktop, iPad is Facebook, Twitter is on my phone. So Liam, I always pronounce it acephobia. It's disgusting, like any other sexual orientation phobias. Greg, well, my parents aren't. Well, that's really, really good. Yeah, it's disgusting to have any sexual orientation phobia. We have to understand that some people don't understand their sexuality. And if it's just a case they don't understand it, they don't get it, you know, it takes people a while to understand what they're uncomfortable with or not used to. You know, but that's a big difference between not understanding and not being used to it and actually being against it, right? But like I said, there was two people, and the gay guy at my old job, at that point, he was really dead against me being asexual. It made him uncomfortable, right? Even my best female friend for a long time, she was very uncomfortable, I'd say, with it because she kept changing the subject. Now she doesn't. Now she's actually really going for, like, Sandra, go for it. It's your time, you know? Things are changing in the world. Things are different these days. Carry on doing your asexual work. I'm here to support you. So bless her, you know. She didn't say she was uncomfortable with my asexuality, just by changing the subject all the time. I felt she was, but she's like really behind me these days, really going, it's your time to shine with all the work you do. She knows I love that work I do for Asexual. She knows everything I do. And so, you know, she's really nice. But so the thing I would say is with people that are acephobic, right? Sometimes they might come around, sometimes they might not, right? But don't dim your light, right? It's really important. So the last thing you want to do if you're experiencing people who, if you're experiencing problems with people who don't accept you for who you are, you shine your light bigger, right? You be bolder, you be stronger, and you be more confident, right? Because the way people work, say you've got bullies, right? The way bullies work is because they try to stop you being who you truly are, because they can't handle it, right? Maybe they're jealous, maybe they have some mental ill health problems, maybe they're a psychopath, maybe they're a narcissist, right? But they can't handle you being successful, you being you. Maybe they're unempathetic and they think, God, can't stand her being empathetic, right? So what's important to do is to not dim your light, right? And to continue being you. So with my people at my old job, I continually talked about asexuality. Even though they didn't like it, I continuously talked about it, right? The guy was gay. He talked about all his sex he had at the dinner table, right? He was talking about being up the bum and lubricant and all this lot and shaving his bum crack and, yeah, all that kind of gross stuff. Sorry if I've grossed anyone out. But this is the type of stuff he used to talk about at the dinner table, right? So it's all right for him to talk about that, but not for me to talk about the fact I don't like sex, right? Of course it is, right? I'm not going to play small just because he doesn't agree with it, right? And so, but it was awkward with him because I could tell he was really offhand with me, right? But it's not my problem. How other people react to my sexuality is not my problem. I am asexual and that's it. Whether they accept it or not is not my business. If they don't accept it, that's their problem. I know who I am. I don't need someone to clarify it or confirm it for me. I am who I am. Liam, how can someone be uncomfortable with your asexuality? Yeah, so in regards to that question, how can someone be uncomfortable with my asexuality? It's because some people are very uncomfortable with the concept of not having sex, the concept of people not wanting sex. They think it's got to be some type of thing to do with abuse, to do past bad experiences, and that type of thing. And because someone's not the same as them, they can't relate to them. And so, and because I kind of flaunt the fact I'm asexual, they might find that uncomfortable. But at the same time, most of those people flaunt their sexual, right? And so, you know, it's, Greg, see you later. Oh, bye, Greg. I hate when people prioritise asexuality as sex favourable and leave sex indifference and sex repulse out the picture. Yes, I wanted to talk about that, Greg, actually. Harley, just ignore the people who hate on your sexuality / identity. You're always valid. Thank you, Harley, and thanks for that for everyone else. Harley, I hate when they say you just haven't found the right person. Yes. So going back to the comments first with Greg, Greg says they hate when people prioritize asexuality as sex favorable and leave sex indifference and sex repulse out of the picture. In my personal opinion, we need more visibility than ever for sex repulsed asexuals, right? All the asexuals that are sex favorable, and there's quite a lot, and I've got my Asexual Guide to Sex. It is coming out. That is a book I'm writing. I've been writing it for 2 years because there's some asexuals that do want sex. I'm not interested in having sex again personally, but there's some people who do want that because they want to be in a relationship with a sexual person, for example, or they just want to try it because they're curious, or they are sex favorable, right? So I talk about every type of asexual on the spectrum. Like, I include everyone, but my mission is to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation throughout the globe, so no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. That's my life mission, right? And it's very important to note, get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right. This means, although I understand asexuality is part of LGBT plus QI and the A part on there, as well as it probably standing for aromantic, androgynous, agender, and a lot of other things, right? My mission is to get asexuality recognised globally, right? That is my mission. It's a big mission, right? And the way I do that is because I need to get it to stand out from everything in its own right. So even aside from LGBT, right? Because asexuality is based on a sexual orientation that's the lack of sexual attraction. Whereas LGBT, they're all sexually attracted to people just in different ways to the heteronormative, right? So it's very, very important that, you know, so Greg says, I was in a group and this was, yes, there is a group that's very, very for sex positive people. And it's a shame because people have left there. So personally for me, sex favorable and sex positive asexuals should be included in the asexual spectrum. Right, they're valid as everyone else. But in terms of getting asexuality recognised globally, we need to shout about the sex repulsion. Because if sex favorables, asexuals, are more known about, that's fine. But in terms of heterosexuals and the way heterosexual brains think, they won't see them as any different pretty much to sexuals. It's like, well, you're sex favourable, you're still having sex. Therefore, they don't see the difference, right? But if we're going to actually categorically show the world and heterosexuals the difference, we have to very much focus on sex repulsed asexuals and explaining that there's some people who just don't want sex. And the reason this is so important is because we need to help prevent rapes and we need to help prevent sexual abuse, right? And if we talk about asexuality in terms of a lack of sexual attraction, many asexuals don't want sex, then people who are not asexual will start to understand us better, right? Because they'll see the differentiation then. Whereas they're not going to see so much differentiation with the people that are sex positive. However, my Asexual Guide to Sex book does show the differentiation. It categorically shows how asexuals across the spectrum think differently and feel differently about sex. There's a lot of information in that book, which is very important to get out to show people how it's different for asexuals than sexuals, right? So it's very important, that book, right? But in terms of getting it recognised globally, we should be shouting about the people that don't experience sexual attraction, that don't want sex, because it's the only way we're going to differentiate asexuality between all the other sexualities, right? And it's very important, like I said, that it should be sex education in schools should cover asexuality. But if you think about all the people, all the kids that are growing up, and even the people that are adults now are just discovering asexuality, you know, that all the time they think they're alone. I thought I was the only one in the world, planet, and universe that didn't want sex, right? That's what I thought, right? And so in order to like change society's views and way of thinking and accept asexuality as being very different, we need to really, really big up the fact there's a lot of sex repulsed asexuals, people that don't naturally want sex. And we need to let kids know this and teenagers so they don't grow up thinking they're weird and crazy and broken for not wanting sex. And also when we're dating, we need to introduce the fact that people that are dating, you know, are going to be asexuals and there are going to be people that don't want sex, right? And that's very important to stop sexual abuse and rapes, and also to get more understanding and hopefully get more people to have relationships. Right, let me go back to the comments on YouTube now. Yes, when Harley said, I hate when they say you just haven't met the right person yet. You know, I talked to you about the fact that there was 2 people in my job that didn't accept it, right, for a year. One of those people said to me, you just haven't found the right person yet. That's what the woman said to me when I was walking home with her. She said, you just haven't met the right person yet, you know? And it's like, well, no, that's not the case. It's like, I don't experience sexual attraction, right? But had I got that question again these days, I would say, do you know something? You're absolutely right. I haven't met the right asexual person for me to be in a relationship with yet, because I haven't. So if I was like smart like I am now and I wanted a quick response, I'd say, you're absolutely right. I haven't met the right asexual person yet because I don't want sex and need to find the right sex repulsed asexual like me, right? Greg Morris, sex indifference is number 1. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason that we're different, you know, in the main, is because we don't experience sexual attraction, and as a whole spectrum, we don't experience it in the usual way. And there's lots of us that don't want sex, right? I'm personally sex repulsed these days. I don't want it, don't need it. Do I think about having it? I think about, could I try it again? I think about, could I do that again? Because I used to do it in the past and I don't do it at all now. I think it's not like I don't know what to do, but I still don't see myself doing that, you know? If I did try it again, it'd be kind of like a one-off and I'd be bored with it. And it's like, I don't really want to force myself to do that at all. You should never force yourself to do stuff. And at the moment, I can't see me ever doing that ever again because I really don't like it or want it or need it. But obviously, I sometimes think, could I be with a sexual guy? Because obviously, with a sexual guy, it'd open up a whole new array of people. But I just don't think I could be, because even if I had sex, it wouldn't be that often enough for them, because, yeah, they just need it a lot. Liam, I have never come out fully. I have mentioned it, but I don't even know if my family believe in the orientation. Right. Let's answer Liam's comment, right? It doesn't matter what people believe, right? It doesn't matter if other people believe in the orientation or they don't believe in the orientation. It's not up to us to make people believe in our orientation. What it's up to us to do is to show our beautiful sexual orientation to the world, right? Regardless of what anyone else says, thinks, or does. It's important for us to be our true, authentic self. So we need to stop focusing on what other people believe and other people are comfortable with, and we need to shine our light on who we truly are and come out to the world as is, right? And stop worrying about what people think. Stop worrying about what your family thinks. Stop worrying about what your friends think, and just come out as beautiful asexual you. Don't live your whole life in darkness, not being who you truly are. Right, when you're born to shine, just be brave and bold, be confident. I'm asexual, this is what it is. I'm on I'm in asexual forums, in asexual groups, I'm talking to asexuals on YouTube. Asexual is blah, 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 blah. You just be really, really confident with it. Ahmed, hello. It's really a mad world. People ain't getting bothered by sexism and racism and just anxious by the sexual orientation of some people. What the heck? Yeah, I mean, on Twitter, there's a lot of racism still goes on and stuff like that. So there are people that have, different perspectives, and there's lots of people that talk about being phobic of different things. Personally, I try not to focus on the negative. I try to just focus on the positive and keep pushing through that asexuality is genuine, real, and showing that to the world, because we can't control other people's thoughts. We can't control other people's actions. All we can do is show the world what we are, right? Some people tell the world, oh, there's asexuals, but it's better to just show the world you're asexual, because talk is just talk, right? If people can see what asexuality is for themselves, if they can see the difference, if they can feel the difference, then they can start believing the difference, right? Rather than just being textbook definitions. That's why my Asexual Perspectives book is really good, because it doesn't just give textbook definitions of asexuality. It actually discusses asexuality, from a asexual point of view. It discusses it in regards to love, life, and sex, right? So I understand what you're saying, Ahmed. But I've seen quite a lot of stuff on Twitter that goes into a lot of like racism, sexism, and all this type of thing. But getting anxious over a sexual orientation is kind of weird, It's like, well, it's a sexual orientation. What's to worry about, right? Some people don't want sex. It means your kids are going to be safer around them. It means, there's not going to be paedophilia going on. There's not going to be, if they're not interested in sex, the people that are asexual not interested in sex, there's going to be safer for people to be around them. They're not going to rape them or sexually abuse them unless they're kind of mentally insane or something, even though they're asexual and they've got problems like that. But in the whole, it's going to be safe for them to be around an asexual person, because there's going to be less chance of them being sexually abusive or stuff like that, which is a good thing, right? Harley, by the way, do you know what agosexual is? That's how I identify it, and I've never met someone who knows what it means. Agosexual, I did know what that meant, but I've forgotten. I would have to look it up because there's so many different terms, but I think I talked about that once. I may have talked about it once on my channel a very, very long time ago, but I looked it up at the time before I started the video, I think. So without looking it up, and I can't look it up at the moment because I've got all my devices that are going on, I don't actually know off the top of my head. So it's when I might feel sexual attraction, but I don't wish to act upon it. So grey asexuality is a sexual orientation that's the lack of sexual attraction. But grey asexuality is a sexual orientation that's basically the sexual orientation of grey asexuality is people who experience sexual attraction in limited, rare, or specific circumstances, or who experience it but not enough to want to act on it. So I presume agosexual is a part of grey asexuality, but it's slightly different. Is it where you have fantasies? Because I thought agosexual, but I can't remember because I know there's another term. Is it where you have sexual fantasies, but you don't or think, but don't want it in reality, or something like that? Because when you don't wish to act upon it, that's actually grey asexual definition, isn't it? Someone who's grey asexual only experiences sexual attraction under limited, rare, or specific circumstances, or they experience it but not enough to want to act on it. So I presume it's the subcategory of grey asexuality, but rather than different. How is it different between actual being a grey asexual? Because that's a definition of a grey asexual. Yes, so that's why I thought, right, okay, yeah, so I have remembered what it was. So I think agosexual is when you can have sexual fantasies, but you don't want to act them out in reality, which comes under the grey end of the asexual spectrum. So yes, I did remember what it was then. But there was another term that someone used that can be used interchangeably with that one to mean the same thing, I think. So yeah, for me, it's I just don't experience any sexual attraction, but I have high arousal levels, which is completely bizarre, but I just don't experience sexual attraction whatsoever. I don't fantasize either. I'm one of the few people in the world, people that don't fantasize. I don't fantasize. I don't have kinks. I don't have fetishes. I don't fantasize. I can just think of myself. Just think about kissing. I identify as grey asexual for some time, but I think agosexual fits me better. Oh, right. Bless you. Thank you for explaining that. It's important. Yeah. But asexual is part of grey sexuality, though, isn't it, as far as I understand? But it's good. It's good. These people are all here. I'm going to read out some more about what the wish is. Right, we are on page... Where are we? Oh, we're on page 255. If you've got the Asexual Perspectives book, you see I've got bits stuck everywhere to it. Right. So, if you could have one wish about being asexual, I said to David, what would it be and why? I think I have too readily equated being asexual with being alone. I would like it to be easier to connect with other asexuals for conversation or companionship. I really want to discuss this. It's very interesting, right? So, this is very important. There's a lot of people who have resided to the fact that because they're asexual, they're going to be alone forever, right? They've kind of stuck their stake in the ground saying, I'm asexual, I don't like sex, if you don't, and I'm going to be single forever, I'm going to be alone forever, so I just accept it, right? You do not have to accept that, right? You do not have to accept that, right? The only way we're going to get the relationship of our dreams is by believing we deserve to be in a relationship of our dreams, is by pursuing the relationship of our dreams, is by actually being in the game. By being in the game, I mean actually partaking in, you know, looking for a relationship, right? You know, it kind of saddens me when people are like, they're resigned to the fact they're alone. It might give that person inner peace. Maybe they like that. Maybe they do want to be thinking that they're alone, and some asexuals obviously are okay on their own, right? Some asexuals, they don't need to be in a relationship, they don't want a relationship, they're better off their own, they're happier on their own, right? But I know there's quite a lot of asexuals that also just kind of have defaulted to the fact that they're never going to get a relationship, and that is their default. But they still would like a relationship, right? There was a post in a group that said, you know, do you ever get afraid that you'll be alone forever, or will be with the not right person? And then people, you know, like said that they, you know, some of them do. Yeah, they do worry about stuff like that. Liam, that's the way I want it personally. Yeah, so for people who are aromantic, they don't experience any romantic attraction, no sexual attraction, and they're happy as they are, that's fine, right? But what's not good is if you just think because you're asexual you can never be in a relationship, you can never have someone for a relationship because no one will want you because you don't want sex, because, you know, everyone thinks sexually, so you can't ever have a relationship. You know, if it's kind of a self-worth negative thing, right? Like no one will love me for who I am because of the way I am because I'm asexual. If it's coming from that negative place where it's actually like kind of like putting yourself down and belittling yourself because of your sexual orientation and you're lacking in self-worth, that's not a good thing. So there's some, like, there was an aromantic asexual at the UK Asexuality conference speaking alongside me for the relationships panel in 2018. I was a speaker in London at the UK Asexual conference, in case you didn't know that, in 2018, right? And this person was aromantic, and they were fed up with people not understanding that they don't need a relationship, right? And family. So if you don't want a relationship, that's fine. You know, if you're content, happy, and really want to be on your own, that's a great thing, right? I'm not saying that's not. In this particular case, you know, they've said that they think they've too readily equated being asexual with being alone, right? And so obviously some asexuals, they just want friends and they don't feel alone then because that's all they need, right? But for those asexuals, particularly who are romantic like myself, right, romantic asexuals tend to want romance. They tend to want a relationship. They tend to want the deep emotional connection, the kissing, the cuddling, the holding hands, being there for each other, right? And so just because you're asexual doesn't mean to say you have to put yourself in a box of I'm going to be alone forever. It doesn't have to be that way, right? Some asexuals can meet the asexual partner of their dreams, but the only way you can do that is being by proactive about it, right? So many people are like, oh, don't wait. You know, like, so many people are like, just wait for love. It will happen, right? You're asexual, right? You're sat at home at your computer all day. You don't go out much, right? You're isolated pretty much. You don't do much if you don't, right? And how is it going to happen, right? You might meet someone online, but unless you're actually thinking, I'm going to go in asexual dating groups because I might meet someone for a relationship, it's not really going to likely to happen, right? You have to create opportunities in your life for things to be able to happen. You need to be proactive. It's not like your ideal partner is going to show up on your doorstep usually, very often, right? It's not going to happen usually. There are some people I know who've met their partner nearby, right? But the majority of us, it doesn't usually work out like that for, right? So you have to be proactive about it, you know? And if you've already given up the fact of having a relationship, the fact you've given up means you'll never get into a relationship. And if you're an asexual person that desperately wants a relationship, then you shouldn't give up, right? Because if we give up, we have not got any chance of getting what we want. It's like if we give up on our career, if we give up on our goals, ambitions, and dreams, whatever we give up on, we've given up. There is no way of getting it because we've resigned to the fact that it's not going to happen for us. And if it's something that you really want, like, you know, in your soul and your heart, you go within yourself and you think, oh, I would actually like to be in a relationship with someone in the future. I would like that companionship, but more than companionship, I'd like that person in a relationship with me. I want to be able to hold that person's hand. I want to be able to kiss and cuddle them. I want to be able to grow old with them. I want to be in the future with them, you know? If you've got this kind of like thing that's in your being where you really would like to be in a relationship in the future in some point, you know, you need to be working on that. You need to be working through any issues you've got, issues you've got before you get into a relationship with someone. But don't believe just because you're asexual, you're not worthy of love, you're not worthy of a relationship, or you can't have one. If every asexual thought like that, no asexuals would be with their asexual partner. My best friend Sam is with their asexual partner for life now. They're soulmates. They've got the love of their life. 8 years they waited to get them, right? 8 years, right? My other friend, they are married to their asexual wife. They went to every asexual meetup they possibly could around the UK for 3 months solid, all up and down the country to find the girl of their dreams. They were ready for it, they wanted it, and they did whatever it took to get the girl of their dreams. And they are perfect for each other. My friend has never been happier, right? But you've got to believe that it can happen. You've got to want it bad enough to get it and to pursue it and to actively go and get it, right? So if you're an asexual person that thinks, oh, I've got to be alone because I'm asexual, that's not true. You don't have to be. But we get in life what we accept. So if we accept the fact that we're never going to get a relationship, that's it. You reside to that fact, then you're not likely to get a relationship, right? Or if someone comes along, you're not going to be ready for it and you're going to push them away or not accept them or not be ready for them, and it's going to just end badly, right? So, you know, you need to be able to just understand that just because you're asexual doesn't mean to say you have to be alone forever in your life, right? I mean, some asexuals, they're not romantic and they might want to live with someone. They might want a companion to live with them, like a living flatmate or something, you know, roommate or something, you know? So don't give up hope just because you're asexual and think that you can't have a relationship and that you're going to be alone forever. If you think that way, it's not going to happen. You need to be deciding what future you want for yourself. Like, what's your ideal life? What type of partner would you like? How would that work on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis? How would you grow together? You know, you need to be thinking about this type of thing and you need to be proactive about it. Put yourself in positions in which that's more likely to happen. So, don't equate asexuality to loneliness or being on your own. Equate it to what it actually is for you in your orientation, right? So let's go to Henry's story. Now, Henry is 341 of the book, if you've got the printed copy of this. Right, so if you could have one wish about being asexual, Henry, what would that be and why? So for asexual visibility to be more widespread and asexuality to be more accepted, we aren't the people who need to change, it's the people who think that we do. Now, this is a quote I use throughout social media, actually. We aren't the people who need to change, it's the people who think that we do, right? So the people that think we need to change, those are the people that need to change, not us, right? We can't help our sexual orientation, we can't help being who we are, and we don't need to apologise for it, right? We're beautifully asexual. It's a great thing. So what we need to be doing is actually, you know, accepting the way we are, showing that to the world. And, you know, it's other people that need to change in terms of, you know, accepting there's different people in the world, accepting there's different sexual orientations. We can't actually change those people, but those are the ones that need to change, not us change our sexual orientation when we're naturally asexual, right? We can't change that, right? They need to change their view or opinion. Having said that, like I said, you can't make someone change. You have to just show who you are over and over again to the world until the world begins to accept. Because only by repetition do people get used to anything. Repetition is key to anything. You repeat something over and over again, people get used to it. Right? So if you repeat, I'm asexual, I have asexual friends, I speak in asexual forums, I'm in asexual groups, there's asexual meetups, just carry on going full on, I'm asexual, and keep talking about asexuality all the time. Because people just get fed up of trying to tell you otherwise. They'll be like, oh God, she's not listening. And it's like, well, no, I'm not going to listen to someone telling me I'm not something when I am. Do you know what I mean? Of course I'm asexual. I love it, right? So, if we go to Andy's story now, Andy is page 360 of the book. If you've got the book and reading along, If you could have one wish about being asexual, what would it be and why? I don't really have any wishes other than the occasional fear. I'm really happy with who I am and how I'm living right now. Maybe that I could find someone that could tick all my annoyingly specific boxes and still want to be with me. Yeah, so I think, let's talk about this right now. So I think it's very important when you are looking for a relationship that you really, really hone down exactly what type of person you're looking for, what character traits they have, what personality traits they have, what they look like, what type of job they have, ideally, right? So you need to be doing an avatar. Like an avatar is creating like a caricature and like list of all the traits you want them to have, like what type of personality do you want them to have, what type of interests, hobbies do you want them to have, what type of qualities do you look for, what are deal breakers, all this type of thing, right? So you have an exact idea, a very specific idea of what you want. Like some people will be like, oh, you shouldn't do that on asexual dating sites, or you should leave yourself wide open. If you leave yourself wide open, you get people coming into your life that are not right for you because you've not been specific about what you're looking for. So when you're looking for someone, you should actually get basically an avatar and write down a list of what you want. And when a person most closely matches that criteria, that is a person you're most likely to be suitable for and with. You're not going to get the perfect person that's just jumped off a piece of paper and been exactly every single little detail that you want. Probably not, right? But, you know, it's important that you know, like do have like tick boxes of what a person should look like and be like and with you, because only then will you get something that's near enough to what you want to be with in life, right? And you know, and you still have to understand that, you know, they've still got to want to be with you. You've got to still tick most of their tick boxes, right? But it's very important to be very specific. When you're specific about what you want in the life and the world starts working in your favor more. When you're non-specific or think about things you don't want, you're more likely to get you're more likely to get stuff you don't want come into your life because you're focusing on the stuff you don't want. So it's important that we focus on what we do want in life. And this includes, if we're looking for a relationship, we focus on the specifics of what that person looks like, what type of job they have, how they come across, their personality, you know, all this type of thing. Hobbies, interests, you know, be as specific as possible so you're more likely to get a match, right? So we're going on now and we're going to be looking at Anne's story on page 402 of the printed version of Asexual Perspectives. So Anne, if you could have one wish about being asexual, what would it be and why? So the idea of people accepting asexuals and those on the spectrum as a genuine, legitimate category sounds like a good place to begin. I like the idea of people understanding each other better. Yes. Right, going on to this, right? So this is why it's important to raise awareness of asexuality. And like I said, it's my mission to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation throughout the globe so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. And if we get it recognised as its own right, then people will take it more seriously, right? Because in as part of LGBT, it's hidden within that. But if we want heterosexuals, for example, to understand we're different to LGBT because we don't have any sexual attraction in general, a lot of us don't want sex, then we can actually get through to the fact that there is a sexual orientation that's very different to the majority, right? And so this is how we shine asexuality out amongst the crowd, if you know what I mean. So it's very important that we do have asexual visibility that specifically focuses a lot on those asexuals that don't want sex or that don't experience sexual attraction, you know, so that we can differentiate ourselves, right, from the masses. But also, I am doing my Asexual Guide to Sex book because I will reach a mass market with that. And I want to get through to heterosexuals how different asexuality is and how asexuals do think differently in regards to sex, right? And so it's very important that book comes out because more sexuals should hopefully buy the book, and then they can actually see and experience for themselves through the minds of the real life asexual sex stories in the book of how asexuality differs, how asexuality is a genuine sexual orientation, how we think and feel differently about sex. And it's not It's not, it's actually a complete different mindset we have. And it's very important that we show that to the world. It's very important we show asexuality in real life context, not just textbook definitions of it. So I got my wish at the end of the book, page 522 now. If you could have one wish about being asexual, what would it be and why? This is my wish. I wish asexuality was recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right throughout the globe, which is my mission. So that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. And every asexual could be open about it to have a greater chance of finding a suitable life partner or friends. On a personal note, I wish to find my asexual Indian soulmate life partner and be happy together forever. So, you know, it's very, very important for me that asexuals can live in harmony amongst sexuals, that we can be our true authentic self, that asexuality is recognised as a sexual orientation globally to help prevent as many rapes and sexual abuse as possible, so that people understand there's people who genuinely don't want sex. It's not like you're going to fix it with some magic dick or, you know, or some hormonal treatment or some psychotherapy to get it out of us, or, you know, asexuality is not a condition. It's not because of sexual abuse. It's not, like if you're afraid of sex because of sexual abuse, but you still experience sexual attraction and would have it if you could, that's not asexuality. Asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction. There may be some people who've been abused and then don't experience any sexual attraction, and they just never have since, right? So, you know, but, you know, as a whole, asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction. It's not the same as not being afraid of sex or not wanting sex. Some heterosexuals, they don't like sex. They don't like penetrative sex, even though they still experience sexual attraction. They're just a heterosexual that doesn't like sex, basically. Right? And so, yeah, it is my wish, both globally, for asexuality to be recognised. And the more people that come out as asexual, the more chance we have of finding a relationship, if that's what we want. Ahmed, the blue kitten behind you is... Oh, what? Is staring at you, is it? Do you want to see the blue kitten before you go? Right, so this... People are looking at this. We're going to have some talk time now about this, right? There is a lot of asexuals that actually like cuddling cuddly toys. I don't know if you've noticed that. Staring. Yes, staring. You said starting, but staring. So this is Pusheen. So this is my asexual friend bought me this for, I think it was it Christmas? They bought me this. And so this here is the little Pusheen emoji. I call it emoji, but it's known as a sticker on Facebook. Do you see, look, its tail from the little sticker. Can you see its tail? Oh, I don't think you can see it on Twitter. I'm trying to go on 3 cameras here. So anyway, this tail moves, the tail on here I'm talking about. And this is Pusheen. So on Facebook, there's some stickers. They're like emojis, but they're stickers, right? And this is Pusheen from the sticker collection. So it's like the stickers come to life, and this is the sticker. And it's beautiful. But loads of asexuals like cuddly toys because it's, you know, they give us comfort, don't they? And unconditional love without the sex. So I think that's why a lot of asexuals love cuddly toys, because they're fun, vibrant, energetic, and lovely. But I do love my cuddlies, you know, because I'm not interested in sex. I'm not interested in genitalia. I'd rather cuddle a cuddly toy, you know? And so for me, having looks so adorable. Thank you, Ahmed. Yeah, this is really cute. But as a romantic asexual, I find stuff like this really cute. Like, I've got unicorn slippers. He bought me them. My asexual friend bought me them as well. This in the background. And I just love it, you know? Like, oh, cuddlies. I live like a teenager anyway, in case you didn't notice. It's like my kids' bedroom's like a 15-year-old's. I don't want kids. I am the kid. That's enough. Thanks very much. But I like being young, you know? I like being young, vibrant, energetic, and being me. It's good, you know? So I really think that, you know, that asexuals like cuddly toys a lot more than most people do. Because I think, you know, we like, you know, like the sweet and innocent type of love and companionship and romance, you know, if we're a romantic person, you know, for me personally, if I'm romantic, I like all the kissing, cuddling, holding hands, you know, like the staying up late, talking at night, having midnight feasts, maybe looking into each other's eyes, just chatting to each other, having fun, right? It's like all this sweet teenager stuff without the sex. That's the type of relationship I love, right? Just having fun together and being in each other's company and really like chatting till the early hours and video chatting when we're apart and stuff like that, you know? So hanging out with each other is so cool. Ahmed, I need one kitten like Pusheen, but a real one. Oh, this one's easier to care for. It's very easy to care for. I feel like quite like stroking it all the time. But yeah, Pusheen's great. It's one of my favourite stickers. And if you're romantic asexual, they do have romantic Pusheen versions. Actually, I sent you a Pusheen with a heart. Even though you're my friend and not a romantic partner, but I still sent it anyway because it's cute, right? And so I feel like putting it on my shoulder. So yes, I do love Pusheen. I'm getting so like, I think it's romantic because I love romance, and it's like, oh, Pusheen, so romantic. Oh. It's nice my asexual friend bought it me. And since I don't have a partner, I can stroke Pusheen instead. Oh, cute and cuddly, just like me. Well, the cat can sit there now. But yes. Look at me smiling and beaming with a smile now because I've stroked Pusheen. I love cuddly toys. I don't like being an adult where you've got to have magnolia walls and brown carpets and you've got to have minimalistic look. Like, that's what a lot of people teach. Have a minimalistic look, it'll clear your mind. It's like, but I like cuddly toys. I like cute cuddly things, right? I'm a cute cuddly person. So I like things like me that reflect my personality. My personality is not a boring brown carpet with magnolia walls. Sorry if anyone's got that. And, you know what I mean? I like cute, cuddly, fluffy things. Because that's what I like to be like. That's the type of like relationship I want. Teenager style. I just have to say the word style, not with a teenager. Teenager style relationship forever. This is so awesome. I like going on self dates as well. I love going to the cinema on a self date. I love, you know, going to cinema out for meals on a self date. I love dating myself. God, it's so good. I play my videos back from this show sometimes and I love them. I just like listening to my voice. I look at myself, I get mesmerised by myself. That's true self-love right there, you know. I think I'm probably one of most out of views. Now, I don't do that all the time. I haven't got time, but I do it when, you know, if I switch myself on, I can't stop watching myself. Well, oh my God, I've got to get some other stuff done. But it's good for me to play my videos back sometimes to see how it goes, how I sound, what I'm saying. You know, because I'm ad-libbing all the time here. Do you know what I mean? I've got a script. I'm reading from the book, obviously, but I'm ad-libbing all the time. Like, I can just say anything in the moment. And I love being live, you know. Some people can't even go live. They're, like, not able to have that ability, but I can. But, yeah, so I wish, really, for every asexual to be happy in their life. I wish for there to be more asexuals who come out as asexual. I wish for every asexual person who wants to find a relationship to find the most beautiful, gorgeous asexual relationship for them possible. I want all asexuals to be happy. I want all asexuals to feel fulfilled. I wished no asexual ever felt broken. I wish no asexual was ever sad. I wish no asexual ever felt left out or misunderstood. I wished no asexual was subjected to asephobia. I wish that no asexual felt alone, lost, and despair. I wish for that guy to still be here. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, I went to audition for being a speaker at a TEDx event, and I was going to talk about asexuality, and I went for the audition in Bristol in the UK. And if you haven't heard that story yet, right? So I didn't get through, right? But the most powerfulest, I was going to say coincidental, but nothing's a coincidence, right? You have to understand, I am spiritual. And you have to understand, nothing in life is accidental. Everything happens for a reason, right? Everything. And so when I went to the TEDx audition, I didn't know I hadn't got through until afterwards, right? But it was not in vain. There was a reason why I was meant to go there, right? Fate, the universe, world stepped in, and basically what happened is when I came out of the TEDx audition, I went to go on this bus to go back to the city centre of Bristol. And when I went to go on the bus, this guy asked me, what do you intend to speak about? So I said, I intend to speak about asexuality. And asexuality, I explained to him what it meant to me, that it's a sexual orientation that's the lack of sexual attraction, and that, you know, I just don't have feelings like that, right? And that, you know, it's a sexual orientation, the lack of sexual attraction means I don't get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. Basically, I don't have those feelings. And he said he knew a guy like this, right? So I said, here's my business card, because I've got an Asexualise business card, right? So I was at this, you know, TEDx audition. So I handed in my business card and told him to get this guy that he spoke about to contact me. And he turned around to me and said he couldn't. That this guy was dead. And that had he known about asexuality, I asked him if he'd known about it, would he still be alive right now? And he said yes, most probably. But they all thought he was gay, and basically they taunted him over it. But he wasn't gay, he was asexual. And because people kept ridiculing him for being gay, and it wasn't actually who he was, he committed suicide and killed himself. So had he known about asexuality, he would still be here probably right now. And like I said, nothing is coincidental in life. Everything happens for a reason, right? Everything happens for a reason. And so I was meant to be there on that day, and fate stepped in and showed me the fact that I must continue my work for asexuals. It's very important, because only then can we stop people like that guy killing himself, because people don't understand him and he felt lost, lonely, in despair enough to take his own life. You know, of all the people I could have met, all the people, the one that got on the bus was the one who knew a guy that was just like I described as asexual, but who was no longer on planet Earth because people didn't understand who he was and ridiculed him, and therefore he took his own life. So understand that sometimes people, although we're part of LGBT plus community, some people don't like being referred to as gay or lesbian if they're asexual when they're not. So for example, I get told because I'm asexual, oh, you must be a lesbian then. And it's like, no, I'm really not. And for me, that is insulting. I have a lesbian friend from primary school who lives with their lesbian partner, right? So I have lesbian gay friends. I have no problem with that. But when people assume that I'm lesbian just because I don't want sex, it's very insulting. And, you know, I've had it a lot of times in my life. And it's like, I'm not that way. So if you can just imagine what a guy was going through when people just kept saying you're gay and he really wasn't, he's just asexual, and then he took his own life. I mean, that impacted me greatly. And that's obviously why I was meant to show up at that audition, because I didn't get through. But if I hadn't have been there at that specific time, in that specific moment, I would have not have spoke to that guy and him told me that. And then it was a motivation to continue the work I do for asexuals. I'm going to go into the chat now on YouTube because I realise there's comments there I need to address. So, Alan, how can I realise that I'm a free romantic person and they love the blue kitten? Oh yeah, thank you. This is Pusheen, which is the sticker from Facebook. Sticker. If you look at the sticker, they have these stickers, right? Okay, so Alan, so a free romantic person is someone who experiences romantic attraction, but when they get into a romantic relationship with someone, they lose that romantic attraction. A asexual person is someone who experiences sexual attraction, but once they get into a relationship, sexual relationship, they lose sexual attraction for that person. So I knew a guy who was asexual, and after 8 months of being with their partner, they were having sex and they just lost sexual attraction, lost all interest in having sex whatsoever. And then they were looking for an asexual partner because they just couldn't deal with it anymore. Their partner wants sex and they couldn't give them that. So if you know, how can you realize that you're romantic? You have to look at the definition and see if you fit into that or not, and then wait and see what happens, as in, does every situation end up the same or not, right? But basically it means that you experience romantic attraction, but once you've got into that relationship, you just lose romantic attraction for that person. Usually, in my experience of romance, most people do not lose romantic attraction for someone. It's usually because of there being incompatibility that they would split up or not be with each other anymore, rather than they stop experiencing the romantic attraction. So if you're getting into relationships and the romantic attraction is just going, that's highly indicative that you would be romantic. But if it's just a case you get into relationships and some of them don't work out because you're not compatible with something or other, then that's a different scenario. Incompatibility is not the same as attraction. So I can still be romantically attracted to someone that's completely incompatible with me because it's an attraction. And if I get into a relationship with someone, I don't usually lose romantic attraction because the romance often depends on a deep emotional connection. So long as that person is emotionally connected to me, I still feel romance. And also, I still feel romance anyway because it's not dependent on the other person feeling romantic feelings back to me. So there is a type of asexual that only experiences romantic attraction once the other person experiences it first. So with a romantic person, you experience romantic attraction, but then it basically wears off. Whereas the other type of person, they don't experience romantic attraction until someone's romantically attracted to them, then they experience it back. Alan, yeah, I love Pusheen stickers. I think I'm romantic. I really feel love when I see an unknown person, but when I know more information about this person, I lost the feelings. I guess, yeah, I mean, it's up to you how you identify, but I guess you have to analyse if it's just a one-off that you felt that, or if you feel it a lot. Because sometimes, you know, it depends if you've got a person in front of you that puts you off them. So if you find out some information that's horrible about their personality, some people might just kind of like lose feelings for them because they can't like the person for who they are because they're like really put off by their personality, for example. But usually with romance, you would feel romantic attraction for someone whether they're a good person or not a good person. Usually because the attraction's there, it's kind of always there. So possibly, yeah, if you think you fit the definition of romantic, then, you know, like, wear it, innit? Wear the definition, you know? But, you know, like, because for me, as a romantic asexual, I don't lose those feelings, you know? Like, I can feel romantic attraction for people who aren't right for me, but I have to stop myself from being in a relationship with them because I know they're not the right person. Just because I have feelings for someone doesn't mean to say they're right for me to be in a relationship with, and vice versa. I've had some people who've reciprocated some feelings, but they're not right for me to be in a relationship with them, right? And then the majority don't reciprocate feelings, which is a lot easier a lot of the time. But yeah, I mean, do you get attracted to people's personalities, Alan, as well? Is that an important thing for you? Personality, you know? Are you personality attraction driven at all? Because I think that can make a difference. But like you say, you probably are romantic if you like lose feelings for them like that, you know? I think romantic and asexual is very hard Because if you experience those feelings and then you get into a relationship and all of a sudden they go, that's really difficult for the recipient, and obviously difficult for you as someone who's being like that, but it's who you are, you know? So it's kind of difficult. Some free romantics and free sexuals decide to have short-term relationships or casual relationships or, you know, friends with benefits, because they know that if they get into an actual relationship with a person, then it will wear off and people will get hurt. So whereas I personally don't like casual relationships or short-term relationships, for some free sexuals or free romantics, it might work out better for them, because that may be the only way they can kind of get their needs met. But you know, you've got other people involved, so it's kind of like, be careful not to hurt each other, isn't it? You know, I think a free romantic or free sexual person would work very well with another free romantic or free sexual person. Thanks for your help, Sandra. Yeah, free is complicated. Yeah, fray's very complicated. I guess it depends if you could be with a person minus the sexual attraction or minus the romantic attraction. And if you can't, then you probably couldn't be in a long-term relationship. You'd have to have other attractions that were more prominent and more important and could hold and sustain a relationship. But if you haven't, then a long-term relationship probably isn't going to work out realistically. And like I said, you know, some people get attracted to people's personality and they would just stay with a person because of the personality. They might have a deep emotional connection with that person, and even if they don't feel romance, they might still want to be with them. But obviously the recipient, if they're really romantic and you're not romantic, then that might not work out. You know, like, for example, with me, I could be with a demi-romantic, someone who experiences romantic attraction only after a deep emotional bond has been formed, if they experience a lot of romantic attraction at that point. But an actual aromantic person who didn't experience any romantic attraction for me whatsoever, I think that would be more difficult for me, unless they're just romantic in nature despite not experiencing the attraction. That is possible. You could get someone who's romantic without actually meaning to be. I think actually aromantic asexuals, quite a lot of them can be romantic without meaning to be, you know? But it's what you want, isn't it? And what they want in terms of a relationship and in terms of feelings and emotions, you know? So I think it's very difficult for phrase, like we agreed, that it's very complicated, and it's something that's you've got to think long and hard about, really, about what you want and stuff. Like, I have the opposite. I'm a hyper romantic, and I just get romantic feelings for a lot of, or I get multiple attractions for all different types of guys, and it drives me insane. And I prefer to just focus on one guy, really, but I won't ever stop having different attractions for different people because it's part of my hyper romanticism and my personality. And I have to come to terms with that and accept it. But I prefer just to focus on one guy because it's a lot easier and calmer and, you know, better for me, really. But, you know, until I find the right guy, I just be single, right? Which is like, sometimes it's easier for me as a hyper romantic to be single, you know, especially if I can't find the right person, you know, because I have relationship anxiety. So in some ways, having a relationship is kind of tormenting for me. But I think if I get the right guy in the end, then I won't have so much anxiety. I'll just be like, because I've noticed, like, if I get into a relationship with someone, after a while, a in-person relationship, not an online relationship, an in-person relationship, the anxiety can reduce and wear off after a while. If I feel secure with them and safe, it can wear off. And so I presume that it's, you know, I presume it could, with the right person, I wouldn't get all that. You know, it would wear off quicker and be all right, I think. You know, but, you know, being single's good anyway. I want to be single for now, for the next year or two. I say that now, but obviously I'm hyper romantic, so anything can happen in the next 24 hours. But, you know, I'm kind of like focusing on my career this year and next now. It's very important to me. That's why I want to spend my time, energy, and effort, really. And it makes me happy, and I need to just focus on me, because obviously I had a bit of upset recently with someone who wasn't suitable for me. So I need to just get back to being beautiful me and being happy and consistently feeling good, really, as much as possible. Anyway, I think we're going to end the live stream. I just wish every asexual would be happy, would feel lots of self-love, would find the partner of their dreams, would live happily ever after, would never feel broken in their life, would never feel lonely ever again, and would just love every single moment of every single day being beautiful asexual them. And I wish every asexual would come out as asexual, and more people would know about asexuality then, and there would be less, you know, people who didn't accept it because it'd be so widespread. That's what I wish. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Thank you so much for everyone in chat. I always thank everyone in the chat, so I'm not just going to go away straight away. I'm going to thank everyone that was there in the chat, right? And so if we go back, we've got Liam to say love you, Liam, lots of love. Ahmed, lots of love to you. Greg, lots of love to you. Harley, lots of love to you. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you. And Alan, thank you, Liam, for watching till the end. I really appreciate you. Bye beautiful Sandra. Bye Sandra, greetings from Mexico. Oh, you're from Mexico, Alan. That's lovely. It's really weird because I was in my Asexualise Academy club, which is on asexualise.com if you want to join that. It's a paid membership group. But I was in doing a live video meetup because we have asexual meetups and Asexualise Academy club. And there's a person there, a girl that I was talking to for ages. Like, we're on video chat for like the whole meetup went on for like 2 hours 35 minutes. But she came in like half an hour later, and she says she's like from Mexico. So that was really interesting. So yeah, 2 people I've met from Mexico in like less than 12 hours, and less than 6 hours actually. Anyway, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Liam. Thanks for everyone else, Ahmed, Harley, everyone else that's been here. And I love you and leave you for now. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to this channel, and hit the bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live. Don't forget, for the whole of this month, I'm doing Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, so I will be going live, right? Even though I've like been streaming for like an hour and 26 something minutes now, but every time. And if you haven't got a copy yet, please get a copy of Asexual Perspectives, because I am reading from this every single day for 30 days, 31 days, because we're in July, 31 days. Type in Asexual Perspectives to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Waterstones, and then you can grab a copy. Love you, Sandra. Thank you. Love you lots too, Liam. Take care, and you know, I wish you the very best. Lots of love, and see you soon. Take care, and embrace your quirky and each other's. Bye-bye. Bye.